God, what a day. All right. Let's first off see if y'all can see me, hear me. Whole 9 yards, we'll get this thing going. So, waiting for my computer and waiting for you guys. Yep, I'm already there, Eric. Okay, so I can see me. Undercover, Krista, Finley the dog. A few more, maybe. Let's see, okay, Lorna, Pennsylvania Mama Bear, Kevin, good. Okay. So we're loud and clear. Yes, for those of you guys wondering what the deal is with the hat night. Saturday's always hat night, and usually it's my fedora. So I didn't start this. This got started a few years ago. So if you're new here, welcome. I'll explain a lot as we go. Okay, so it's been a very, very interesting Saturday, at least for everybody, certainly around here. Mrs. P has been trying to get a hold of friends, family, anything back in Russia. There's let's put it this way: communication is very sparse right now, coming out of Russia, as what the people are saying, can say. They are, if you guys didn't know this, Russia is on a 48-hour news delay, if you will. They don't want any of the news getting out. So they are doing a lot to restrict the news getting in, coming out, whatever it would be. So it's hard to figure out. Obviously, I did the 3 videos all this morning. Last one I did was at 11:30, telling you guys what was going on, and that Prigozhin was 200 miles away from Moscow, and then all of a sudden, poof. Now, the interesting part to that today was Evgeny Prigozhin usually says something via social media to his followers, to his troops, whatever, about once an hour. And Mrs. P said to me about 10:30 this morning, just as I got home, she goes, "This is really interesting. He hasn't posted anything all morning." And I kind of snarkily replied, I said, "Yeah, he's probably a little busy." What we didn't realize, what nobody realized, was that what he was busy with was talking to other parties, Lukashenko, about ending this coup. Now, as I mentioned this morning, what Prigozhin was most concerned with, like we are all concerned with freedom, his driving force, what makes him tick, is justice. And he wanted justice. Now, for months, he's been bitching that the defense minister, their director of military operations, whatever, hasn't been giving him the ammunition he needs, whatever it would be. I also told you about Putin not giving him the spoils of war, okay? He's a mercenary. That's what they want. They go after the spoils of war. They will do whatever it is for the highest bidder. And again, I know all over the place people are talking about the CIA or anything like that. I'm not discounting it, but I got nothing to verify it. Not that I ever would. But I want to give you a little bit of detail on what's going on, what Mrs. P thinks about what the negotiations were, because we don't know anything about what he was promised other than living in exile, if you will, in Belarus. Not that he's safe in Belarus. Don't for a second think this is over, okay? I mean, I laughed seeing some of the people on Twitter going, "Everything's over." Right, and Putin's going, "Cool, you know what? Tomorrow's just a normal Sunday. Everybody go back to your picnics and go to church and do whatever you want." Right, okay. Putin looks like a huge coward in all of this and, very weak. Do you think he's going to put up with that? No. All right. But I want to give you a little bit more of the background and what the justice that we could possibly be looking for justice. Okay. Have you ever heard of the country, the Central African Republic? Yeah, there's actually, I mean, y'all know the names of countries in Africa change all the time. I had to look this up because I didn't know. Mrs. P was telling me this story. The Central African Republic. This is a country in, go figure, Central Africa, that is the holding place, if you will, for Putin's billions, if not trillions of dollars, as well as all the oligarchs, okay, all of Putin's cronies, all of the uber rich in Russia. You know, they're not parking their money in Russian banks, in Swiss banks, in the Cayman Islands, or anything of the sort. They're hiding it where basically nobody is ever going to really go after it. And I mean, and I'm giving you this. This is kind of a, how do you want to put it? Well-known secret / rumor amongst the Russian people. Okay, now the CAR, Central African Republic, is no rumor. There's been exposés done all over the place. CNN has done this. I mean, they all know what's going on. That this is where they all have a boatload of money. Prigozhin was the caretaker, if you will, of everything that was in the Central African Republic. The caretaker of all of Putin's money, of all the oligarchs' money. You know, think of Fort Knox. He was the one that oversaw everything and made sure nobody got into any of it. This was one of the things he did, which makes him very powerful, okay? Because he has that poker chip in the politics game where I'm watching your money. You better take good care of me. Because if you don't take good care of me, I got a Bic lighter right here and it all goes poof. Okay? The other catch, if you look at anything of Central African Republic, is it is a very good source of diamonds and gold. The natives, the citizens, if you will, of the CAR are poor. Go figure, it's a Central African nation. And a lot of them will work going out in the mud, out in the savannah there, digging for diamonds or gold or whatever. Anything that they get, they have to give to the Russians, who Piroshkin is the caretaker of. What's to say it isn't one for you and one for me? He wants justice. He wants back there. His justice, what his big worry is right now, is protecting his own ass, okay? Negotiate a deal for him to go to Belarus. You know, Lukashenko and Putin are like this. Lukashenko is a puppet of Putin, okay? This is why Lukashenko was on a plane this morning to Turkey while Putin was on a plane to St. Petersburg, okay? And Putin was calling all over his allies saying, help me, help me, help me. And, you know, Tajikistan or even Iran or anything like that, everybody except for Uganda said, we'll cross our fingers for you. Good luck. Okay. Not our fight. We're not getting involved. Lukashenko has a lot to lose if Putin goes down. So Lukashenko was highly, what's the word I'm looking for? He had a lot to lose if Putin fell. I guess best to put it that way. So he negotiated this deal, and Piroshkin is going to go to Belarus. He won't be there long. He wants to go back to the CAR because there he will be protected, because the other thing was all his soldiers, his 25 to 50,000 man army, will be down there to protect him as well. And they are mercenaries. So now they can go protect Putin's money. We have a little bit of control. We have some power. And we can also go make money because, I don't know, there's not any wars going on in Africa at all, are there? So this is kind of how this is working out. This is not over. all the Twitterati out there who are going, look at this, it's over. Which, I mean, I got such a kick out of. It's like, yesterday the liberals are out there calling for his head. Today he's a hero. This afternoon they're calling for his head again. Okay, it's like the hypocrisy amongst liberals is ridiculous. I mean, I've said millions of times, can't think past here. Okay, their entire life is feelings. Oh, he's doing something for us. Yay. Oh, shit, he's doing something against us. Kill him. I mean, that's how fast they turn. Okay. It's just ridiculous. Don't think for a second this is over. It's what? Right now it's, 5 in the morning? Okay. They're probably all getting ready, getting up, getting ready for breakfast. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Okay. Let's see what happens to the economies on Monday. Because here's the deal. I'm going to take this one step further. Remember I said that Central African Republic is heavy in gold and diamonds? What's Russia part of? BRICS. Okay. What are they trying to get? A lot of gold? If he's now the one in charge of where they're getting a lot of this gold, how much power does he have? This is about justice for him, not for the Russian people, not for his troops, not for him. This is for him. Okay. He is the ultimate narcissist. He is a mercenary. That's basically it. Okay. He's looking out for number one and could care less about anybody else. He's trying to protect himself and get his while he can, because this is his makeup. Don't be fooled by any of the people out there that are saying this is done. Putin's not going to do anything. I guarantee you there's a price tag on his head right now. It won't be done by the FSB, but the Libyans, the Iranians, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, anybody can go in there. The Taliban, write a check. This is how Putin does business. I'm going to distance myself away. Here's a check. Go take care of this for me. Watch what happens. This is why Peroshkin wants his get out in Africa. I'm away from prying eyes, and I've got my army to surround me, and we can go about business doing our business, and I've still got control over your business. That's what he's doing. Okay. That's what Mrs. P and I spent all afternoon figuring out. So there you go. All right. So I figure this is going to be a crazy night. Welcome to everybody this evening. A whole lot of new faces on the channel today, which I welcome every one of you. Hopefully you guys are getting a little bit out of the information that I can garner. For those of you that don't know, my background is military intelligence. My wife is Russian. Okay. Yeah, I'd say we are somewhat qualified to talk about this. I'm getting information like you guys are, best I can. I mean, I'm not one of these, I've got all these secret sources and stuff. Everything I'm getting is open sourced, and then using her knowledge and my knowledge to kind of put the things together. All right. I'm just your average Joe sitting here in East Tennessee. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. For those of you that are old hat to this, welcome again. All right. So how we do things around here, on Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday nights at 9, we get together for Q&A from all of you guys to hear what's on your mind. So this is what we're going to do. If you have a question for me, I ask like every other YouTube channel does out there, please put it in all caps. I've got the computer sitting right below the camera here where I'm following the chat. Okay, and I will go through as many of these questions as I can. Makes it a lot easier for me to find them if they're in all caps. I can zip past all the stuff that's in lowercase. However, what I will say to everybody, and I always tell you this, pay attention to what's going on in chat, because somebody else may have an answer to your question. I don't have all the answers. I've never professed to. I'm no genius. I know what I know. I stay in my lane. What I don't know, I will tell you flat out, I don't know. And yes, I will do something that most people won't. I'll admit when I'm wrong. So The only thing I require in here is that you treat everybody in the chat, in the comments, anywhere on the channel with respect. Okay. I don't mind differences of opinion at all. That's how we learn. Okay. There's more than one way to skin a cat on a whole lot of things. Starting it out with "you're an asshole," that's not how it works. That gets you the one-way ticket to bye-bye land. Okay. And the 6 moderators that we have in here have been with me all for 2+ years. They're really good at this. Okay. So they keep a very clean house, keep the riffraff out. If you're here to cause problems, leave now. You'll save yourself some trouble. If you're here to have a little bit of camaraderie, fellowship, maybe learn something, stick around. You might have some fun too. Okay. All right. So let's get into this. We will start at the top, and I will go through as many of these as I can as per normal. So let me get up here and see what we got. Soapy Gale 1, train derailed in the Yellowstone River today. Actually, I thought that was yesterday. Hell, I don't know. I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning. It could have been today. It just seems like yesterday to me. Yeah, I guess there's some hazmat chemicals in there or whatever. It's something to pay attention to. You know, of course, just after East Palestine, Joe won't do anything about it, you know, and they'll probably set everything on fire or whatever, you know, do something stupid that's environmentally insane. But yeah, for those of you guys that live in Idaho, Wyoming, that Yellowstone area, pay attention to what's going on. If there's anything that gets crazy, please let me know so I can share it with the group, because, you know, if it gets waterways, wherever it's flowing to, you know, if people need to know downstream about toxic chemicals in water. A lot of times you guys know what's going on local a lot sooner than I'm ever going to find out. And I appreciate a lot of you guys sharing that information that I can get out to the rest of the people so we can stay prepared. Go figure. Fungi. Hello, Pinball. When are we going to see that smiley, happy face of yours? Oh, there you are. Hello, buddy. Yes, I'm here. Beard and all. Vicky Savage, interesting day is in the ancient curse. Peace, prosperity, and good health are not interesting. That's, yeah, pretty well. Like I said the other day, I mean, I don't want to be gloom and doom, okay? But I want you guys to be well informed. And, you know, as long as you are well, I mean, as you've heard me say a million times, there's no one size fits all in prepping, okay? As long as you are informed about what is actually going on, you then have the tools you need to make your decision on how you can prepare for it. You know, I can't tell you what to do. Nobody can tell you what to do. Your circumstances are different than mine. I don't care if you're my next door neighbor. Your circumstances are different than mine. Do you have kids? Do you not have kids? Do you have parents living with you? Whatever. Do you have grandkids? What do you have? An apartment, you know, a house, land in the country. Everybody's different. If you can take the facts and figure out what's going to work best for you, that's what we're shooting for. Okay. Every one of us on YouTube, in the chat, in the comments, whatever it is, can give you our suggestions, but never once am I ever going to come up and say, you need to do this, because I can't do that. I don't know your circumstances. Mimi, praying for Mrs. P and her family and friends in Russia. Thank you very much. Like I said, we're trying to get a hold of people. It's just, they got a few other things on their mind right now than answering an email. You know, just saying so. Claudia Clevery, what about Constantine? I emailed him real quick today. Natasha is down in Rostov. They are making plans to get down to Uzbekistan. I do not know what the status is with his mother. I'm assuming she's coming with, but that was before everything stopped at 1:30 Eastern. So, you know, I can't answer for him. Best thing to do, keep an eye on his channel. He's been all over this from the start, giving, you know, what he's knowing from that side. Granted, he's in Uzbekistan. Obviously, he knows more about life in Russia than I do. But what information he's getting versus what information I'm getting, remember, I mean, as I said in this morning's video, the media has been 6 hours behind it. I mean, at 3:30 this afternoon, CNN hadn't reported yet that there was any sort of truce deal or anything yet. It had happened 2 hours earlier, but CNN hadn't even got around to it yet. Remember, first thing this morning when this was all going down, they were still talking about the submarine, even though we were on the verge of, a potential collapse of, a world superpower. CNN didn't think it was important. So I don't know what news he's getting, what sources he has or anything like that. Because like I said, again, the communication lines in Russia were basically pretty close to shut down. Let's see. Voice of Truth says it's a false flag. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to. When seven aircraft were shot out of the sky, including one troop transport plane, and you've got about 50 dead Russian soldiers just from that. Yeah, this happened. Okay, could it be some sort of distraction from the Biden disasters and stuff like that? Yes. Okay. I'm not, like I've said many times today, I'm not discounting it. I've got nothing to prove on it. But this really happened. The whole world does not revolve around Joe Biden. He may think it does. Okay. But, the people in Russia, the people in Ukraine, anything like that, I don't think today they were overly concerned. Gee, what's Joe think? So. Moonlight Gardener, sorry, I didn't forget you. I just keep forgetting to go to the top here. Thank you for the super chat. Big hug to Mrs. P. I can only imagine how stressful this is for her, praying for peace and safety for her family and friends. I think we all are. There was a great meme today that I saw, and it was, a picture of George Bush. I just let Putin go into Georgia. And then there was Barack Obama. I just let Putin go into Crimea. And there's Joe Biden. I just let Putin go into Ukraine. And there's a picture of Donald Trump. Says, I didn't let Putin do shit. It's about the truth, It's like, I love listening to these idiots like Joe Walsh or Bill Kristol or, these guys, oh, we should be so thankful that Joe Biden is our president. Could you imagine if this all happened and Trump was president? I'm thinking to myself, if Trump was president, there wouldn't be any Russian-Ukraine war, okay? Let's remember that. He's the only president in my lifetime who has not got us in any sort of armed conflict, okay? Really, Joe wants to start wars everywhere, Yeah, I mean, the world would be a hell of a lot more affordable and a hell of a lot more safe if Joe wasn't in the White House. But, liberals are too effing stupid to understand that. Pure-blooded alpha, a fake coup. I know. Yes, I understand some of the conspiracy theorists out there are saying, gee, that Proshkin and Putin got together and the CIA said, hey, we're going to give you $5 or $6 billion. And he told Putin, and Putin said, cool, let's keep. I mean, I've heard those stories. I get it. Okay. Show me a shred of evidence first, and then I'll consider it. But until there's anything that we can find me an email, and then I can discuss it. But this actually happened. Okay. This wasn't what was I forget what the movie was. Wag the Dog, I think it was, where they created the fake war. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, this actually happened. Ellen Knipe, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thanks to Mrs. P for translating in order to keep us all informed. It's not the translating. It, as I was saying to a friend of mine this afternoon, it's the fact that she can get into she's in the Russian mind. She understands how they think. We don't. I don't care how educated, how much time you have working for the State Department or whatever. You aren't Russian, okay? And I mean, I used this example this afternoon. You take somebody that's from the Deep South, okay, anywhere down here, and have them talk to somebody from New York City. They don't understand the concept of what makes each other tick. Sure, they speak the same language, they live in the country, or live in the same country, whatever it is, but they're two completely different people. The Russian people, as I said earlier today, they don't have that deep, deep, deep freedom loving in their heart like Americans do. They think different. I can talk to her and I can get inside a Russian's head and she can tell me this is what they're thinking. And we don't understand it because we've never lived through some of the things they did. I mean, how many of us watching this right now have ever lived through their country collapsing? She has. Okay. We can't understand that concept. We've never experienced it. That's why getting those kinds of sources to explain it to you in terms that, for her to explain it to me in terms that I can understand, i.e. using a relationship type conversation, then I can explain it to you that way, hopefully gives us an iota of understanding of what's going on. P Fletch 83. I have a feeling few people have paid attention to China's move. I have a feeling few people have paid attention to China's moves on the global chessboard. Yeah, we do. I do. You guys do. But everybody else is like, nah. Who was it? Kirby the other day came out and said, we're not fighting for Taiwan's independence or anything like that. I mean, that was just basically, here, China, let me just write you the permission slip to go invade. We won't do squat. Okay.
For those who say that it was a fake coup, you forgot to mention that he was about to lose his army because they all had to sign contract with Ministry of Defense.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, Mrs. P chiming in there, reminding me here real quick about people asking about a fake coup. That Proshkin he was about to lose his, Preclusion. I keep pronouncing his name wrong. Okay. He was about to lose his army. This was the other thing that I forgot to mention at the top. Lots of stuff going on. Is July 1st, the contract with Russia is up. And one of the things that he was pissed off about was the new contract gave control of all of his army to the Russian military. And he would have lost control of his entire force, which at that point, he's not necessary. So that was the other part in there that he wanted to make sure that he had taken care of so that his life was spared. Okay. He needs that buffer zone, those soldiers around to protect him. That was another big catch. And she mentioned that to me. So that was the timeout there real quick. Yes, I have a good teammate trying to put all this one together. Okay. Rebecca Stanley, I thank you all for the real news. A bonus is Mrs. Pinball. Yeah. In situations like this, she's more than a bonus. I mean, she's a lot of the brains behind the operation here. Let's see. KS1 Big Dad, interested in your updated take on Russia. When we're done, go watch the top. The first 10 minutes or whatever was me all discussing that. So that'll give you that as an idea. Don Oliver, Mrs. P is the boss. Thanks for the translation. Yes, definitely. Oops, now we go to the bottom. All right, so now I gotta find where it was again. KP Tiger, thank you for all the information about True News. It's the thing. I mean, you guys know I'm a news hound, okay? And I pay attention to news sources all over the world. I mean, I know you guys will look at it and it's like, you're reading the Greek news or you're reading Al Jazeera or the South China Morning Post or, whatever it would be. Yeah, because the U.S. media sucks, okay? If I want to know what's going on in the United States, I'm better off listening to the Australians report on it because the U.S. media is too worried about, oh, Meghan and Prince Harry did this. Oh, Kim Kardashian had I mean, that's what they call news. I mean, it was like perfect example. Joe today sends out a tweet, right, about how he's fighting for everybody's healthcare rights. I'm like, Joe, turn on the news. There's something a little bit more important going on today than listening to you talk about your healthcare follies. You know, we could feasibly have a nuclear war in the next 12 hours. You know, I'm talking about healthcare. Joe, you're an idiot. Okay. You know, yes, I mean, I track a lot of this stuff all the time because I want to be informed as to anything that's going on so I can be prepared for it. And by me knowing it, I can share it with you guys, and it helps you guys be more prepared for however you take it. Mike, thank you for the super chat and for the Christmas fund. Cool. Thank you. Add to the kitty. Lisa Compton, do I know about COG? I'm hearing we're in COG. I have no idea what COG is. If it's an acronym for something, you're going to have to tell me what. Maybe I do know it, but I don't know it by the acronym. Morning Light, how do I keep the ticks off while working in the garden? I spread every 2 years in my yard something called Eliminator. It's a bug killer. I do it for fleas and ticks primarily because of the dogs, but I mean, it'll kill any of your exoskeleton bugs in the garden or in the soil. So that works really well. So do I get the occasional one? Yeah, usually it's at the end of the second year, which is next spring. I've got to put it out again. But yeah, I mean, using a flea and tick killer, that's, at least for me, living out in the woods, that's a necessity. Linda Town, Zelensky and Biden don't want over. I don't understand the context. Fred Croucher, how hard would it be for him to get a hold of the nukes? I can't really answer that. Mrs. P and I talked about that a little bit today. I mean, you figured that whole southern district of the military he had control over this afternoon. Okay, you know, this afternoon their time, this morning our time, which meant he had control of hypersonic missiles and anything like that. Now ICBMs, I'm hoping those are quite secure. Okay, that it's not just two guys sitting in an office somewhere, you know, with two keys or whatever it would be. You know, again, you still have to have nuclear codes and whatever. However, we do know that the Russians have many vehicle based nuclear weapons. Those he could have had access to today. That's very possible. Okay. ICBMs probably not, but any of these smaller stuff, the tactical stuff, yeah, he probably was able to, at least for a short time, in somewhat of control over them. I mean, there's pictures of the generals down there today sitting around doing nothing, you know, right next to them. And you know exactly what was going on. Off camera, there were rifles pointed at their heads, you know, said, you do anything, we just blow your head off right here. They're mercenaries. It's not like they'd care. LGT Mac, have I had a chance to check out Old Glory Bank? Yes, I did. Actually, I did quite a while back, and I got myself on the list of people that could get an account early. I opened an account. I have not funded an account. I like the idea. I want to see a little bit of the. I want to watch this a little bit. Okay, even though the bank is just a name change and ownership change from, you know, a bank that's been around for 100 years, I want to see how the Biden administration goes after him or something like that. That, you know, I'm just keeping my eyes open. Prep Rebel, thank you for the very generous super chat there. Thank you for all you do. Just a little something for you and me. Speed to go have a nice meal and a wonderful date night. Yeah, that doesn't happen around here too often. I mean, as she says all the time, the best restaurant we can go to is our own kitchen. I mean, you guys got to understand, I'm extremely spoiled. She's an excellent cook. I mean, a lot of you guys have tried her recipes. You know what I'm talking about. So, but yes, I mean, maybe I keep telling her, it's like, do something. You want to go get a manicure or something like that. She hasn't had a manicure in 5 years. I'm like, make an appointment somewhere. I'll take you. It's not a big deal. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. Lisa, thank you as well for the super chat. Are we under continuation of government? If not, why did Biden get a funeral volley and our soldiers turned their back on his motorcade? Not. I don't know if there's a typo. Why would Biden get a funeral volley? I mean, I wish the guy was dead, but I mean, soldiers turning their back on his motorcade, that was a while back. The military is primarily conservative people, guys. I mean, it's like 80% of the military is conservative. Figure. Most of them are from the Midwest and the South anyway. Yeah, you get some from Utah or Alaska or anything like that. Ain't a whole lot of military people from New England or, San Francisco. It's just not in their makeup. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what you're asking there. Brandy F, thank you for the super chat. Isn't the Wagner Group a bunch of people from jail? Yeah, it's not your choir boys that are there. There's a lot of them that have been released from prison. I mean, there's mercenaries that, hey, we just want to be psychopaths and we just like to go out and kill people. And yeah, they're not choir boys. Yeah, that's the best way I can answer it. Yeah. Aaron Murphy, wondering what is next. Should I get a Jace case and medical taken care of or our next solar gen? Okay, first off, I'm not a proponent of any of those pre-put kits together, especially that one. That one is a huge ripoff in the way of money. You're paying more than twice as much what everything is in the kit is worth. In regards to getting a medical kit, build your own. Maybe you do need 400 Band-Aids. You just don't need to spend $200 for 400 Band-Aids. With any sort of medical kit, you are always better building your own because a lot of the stuff is, I mean, you go on, I don't care where, any of these companies such as this one or go on Amazon or any of the other ones. You get the case, you look at it, it's like, oh, I paid $29 for this. And I know theirs are like $400. Okay. Paid $29 for it. There's $15 worth of stuff that you could buy at the dollar store in there. Okay. About the only medical kit that I have ever seen that I think is worth it is Bayer's IFAC. That's it. Any of these other ones from companies are a ripoff. I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. That's my opinion. If you want to go for it, if you think it's a benefit to you, go for it. My opinion, put it together yourself. So answering the question on that, should you get your medical taken care of or your next? Oh, okay. Should I get medical taken care of next or a solar generator? I'm assuming this would be your first. I kind of say go with both. Get your solar generator, figure out the one that meets your needs, and start building your own medical kits. Okay. Get a small duffel bag or whatever it is. I mean, that's what we use. It's a duffel bag, and we got all our medical in there. I mean, anything from Israeli bandages to splints to tourniquets to regular bandages to surgical gloves to iodine to God knows what. Okay. A lot of that stuff you're going to go pick up at the dollar store, Walmart. Some of it you may need to order. Okay. But don't order the whole kits. That's just what I'm saying. I mean, if you're going to get an Israeli bandage or you're going to get a good tourniquet set, I mean, if you know how to make a tourniquet in the field, wonderful. But if you don't, get a tourniquet. Pay the premium for that, just like you would out of one of these cases. Just, you don't need to pay the premiums for bandages and gauze and Neosporin and that sort of stuff, because you're paying a premium on all of it. Just, why pay a premium on top of retail because it's put in a case and all shipped to you in one nice little pretty box? Get a freaking duffel bag. Warfox, do you think our elite forces will come alive and take out the top elites and stop this madness? No, absolutely I don't. For the simple reason that our elite forces are managed by our woke Pentagon. And our woke Pentagon is completely in the bag for knucklehead in chief. The only way that we're going to have any sort of takeover of the U.S. government other than via election, guys, is if the same thing happens here that happened in Russia today. That's it, okay? It's not going to be the military taking over, because the military's in the bag, all right? I mean, and it sickens me to have to say this, but, there's a lot of you guys on here are vets. A lot of you guys have said the same thing I have. You wouldn't recommend your kids serve under this woke military. This is, a bunch of pansies is what we have. Sure, there are some good soldiers and everything like that, airmen, sailors, whatever, Marines, I get it, okay? But when leadership is more important in pronouns than winning wars, that's, when guys are flashing yellow cards because the drill sergeant hurt their feelings, okay? Yeah, no. Don Iverson, Pinball, how do I get rid of wild cucumbers? They're taking over my area by my trailer. Actually, I've never even heard of wild cucumbers. Okay. Best I can say is pull them. I mean, that you gotta get the roots out. I mean, obviously you could go spray Roundup or something. You don't want to do that. So, pull them, and you can't burn them. They're right next to your trailer, so you're not going to set your trailer on fire. If they're, chances are vinegar's not going to work for something as big with as big flowers as vinegar. So yeah, I'd say you got to pull them, dig them up. Manual labor, here we come. Flower Lady 75, thank you, Mrs. P, and prayers for your family and friends in Russia. Thanks, Pinball, for the info so we can prepare. You are most welcome, and I'm glad you understand what I do and why I do it. Judy Goodson, folks, Comex is in trouble. There is a shortage. Yeah, something I saw the other day. There is now the ratio of paper silver to silver is now at 11-1. Okay. So that means that, like I think I was telling you guys in a video, if you own silver futures or something, if you don't own it physically and you call up to take delivery and say, okay, you know what? I own all these contracts to have silver. I want it delivered. If everybody did that all at once, you get roughly 1 ounce of silver for every 11 contracts you own. So that means you're paying, at this point, about $275 an ounce. Okay, because if you bought 11, you get 1, you still paid the $275 for the 11. A Cushnet Prepper, any comments on the submersible that was lost visiting the Titanic? Doesn't affect me, okay. It's not a prepping topic. That's why I didn't cover it. Okay, if it has something to do with something that's important to all of us and survivability and everything like that, I'll talk about it. The fact that 5 guys went into a tin can 12,500 feet underwater, and even the CEO said last year that he knew there were problems with it. Gee, I'm sorry. The bigger issue, I think, is the fact that the Navy and the Coast Guard basically knew that that thing blew up or imploded last Sunday, and we didn't hear about that until Thursday, and they teased all the family members saying, and the air is going to run out in 96 out, when they knew the thing had already imploded. So, because they heard it, that was, they used that to keep everybody focused on this, so you didn't look at the Hunter stuff going here. Let's see. Faith K, I'm more worried about Lukashenko having a nuke button access. He doesn't yet. Prigozhin is terrifying, but Lukashenko's finger is closer. Also tell Mrs. P that I'm sorry since she's watching her country Yeah, that, yeah. Lukashenko doesn't have access. The Russians have nukes tactical nukes, at least, in Belarus right now. Lukashenko does not have control over them. So, right now, neither Prigozhin nor Lukashenko have access to them, which is a good thing. Putin still got it, but, devil you know versus the devil you don't. Fastball 2611. Hi, Pinball. Did I see someone is spraying crops to kill them in the Mormon crickets? I forget who it was. Somebody, there was a channel I'd never heard of. It popped up in my recommendeds yesterday. And they had done a video covering both of those scenarios. I think the farmer was in Oklahoma that he had literally, he was a market farmer. He grew stuff, decent sized farm on his property. And it looks like, best they can figure, somebody flew a drone over and poisoned his entire crops. Okay. There's an investigation going on. You know how police investigate. Oh, we'll take a report, and they never do anything. Okay. But the fact that somebody did that, who knows who it was? The Mormon cricket thing is, how do I want to put this? It's not as much of a scandal as everybody's trying to make it out to be. I guess from my research on that, after seeing this video yesterday, is Mormon crickets, I guess, go through about a 7-year cycle, kind of like locusts or something like that. And I mean, they're devastating the crops, absolutely. I mean, I guess they're completely destroying Elko, Nevada right now, where there's so many billions of them on the road that you literally have cars sliding on the road because they're driving over all these crickets and it's slippery, and that's it. The crop spraying one bothers me. I've heard one story. If we start hearing more, but again, it's one of those things. You got to pay attention to what's going on, guys. I mean, you're not posting guards on your garden and stuff. But if all of a sudden there's strange people around, there's drones flying around that aren't normal, the kid next door isn't a drone aficionado or whatever. All of a sudden that's going on. Start finding out why. We have to pay more attention to our surroundings. The world needs to get their nose out of their phone and start paying attention to what's going on around them. Head on a swivel. We've all heard that. Scout 64, Pinball, what do you think will happen to the stock market on Monday? Right now, I can't even begin to tell you. If you would have asked me at 11:30 this morning, I'd been prepared for a bloodbath. I think I even mentioned that in one of the videos. Now that things changed this afternoon, maybe cooler heads prevail and we don't have a problem. But we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow yet. Okay. And like I said before, anybody that thinks this is over is a fool. Dan Bronars, do I remember Michael Schenker from the UFO band? I vaguely remember the name of the UFO band. No, I can't tell you. I could name a song. I don't know anything. Couldn't remember anything. Ed, thank you again for the super chat for the Christmas fund. I appreciate it. Can you believe, guys, we're 6 months till Christmas. 6 months till Christmas Eve, at least. Start shopping early. Kitsy Witty. Last night, Russia's scare had me getting more fill-ins for my preps, like bottled water and canned meat. What were your thoughts on preps you needed for SHTF? Honestly, the one that I picked up yesterday, I got another freezer, okay? I found a great deal on a 17 cubic foot freezer that I'm going to put in the garage for $600. Because if I can put a couple of deer in there, or I can put a whole cow in that one, that's my idea, right? I'm getting some of the things I can. I've got 14 cubic feet of freezer right now. Put that in. I got 31 cubic feet of freezer. I can probably put away 2 to 3 years of meat, just frozen meat at that point. That was the big thing I was thinking about. It's like, what can I get You guys know this was even before I'm doing a lot of my maintenance on vehicles, things like that, making sure everything's in tip top shape right now, trying to get some skills done. That's what I'm focusing on right now because, as I said in the video this morning, if you learned nothing else from everything that happened with Russia today, the speed at which everything fell apart should have been the only thing you needed to know. Like I said, people went to bed Friday night, and it's like, there's a war going on in Ukraine that's 600 miles away. To 18 hours later, 16 hours later, oh my God, honey, we got to get to the gas station. We got to get to the grocery store. All the trains are people, there's lines of people trying to get on the trains, and all the planes are booked. We can't get out of here. That's how fast it happened. That's what people need to learn. And when it happens here, which one day it will, can't tell you what day, I don't want to be the one going, I got to go to the gas station, or I need to go to the grocery store, or oh crap, my car isn't fixed, or whatever would be. I want to be, everything's done. Y'all go kill each other in the grocery stores or whatever it is. I'm going to be hunkering in, putting sandbags wherever I need to do, building firing positions while you're trying to find a loaf of bread and rolls of toilet paper. Michael Carroll, buy these 30 items now, lest you die of flatulation from cows. Thank you, AOC. Yeah. Arizona Prepper Jules, good evening, Pinball and Misses. Are you seeing military in the air in Tennessee? In Phoenix, it's sporadic. Reminds me of Jade Helm, strange helicopters daily. No, but again, where I am, not so much. I mean, every once in a while, I will see a military plane go over. Every once in a while, I will see a military helicopter. And I'm talking maybe once a month. Okay. Nothing out of the ordinary. So, but again, you got to remember, first off, I'm in the mountains. Okay. And second off, Knoxville isn't exactly your huge city. I mean, it's got a population of 250,000 people. Nashville's got where the Air National Guard is, stuff like that. So, I live pretty rural here. Teresa Webb, suggestions for powdery mildew on my zucchini plants. Take a mixture of milk and water and spray it on there. That will help. Mandy in Mass, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that. Mandy in Massa. I'm taking a guess that's Massachusetts, but if it's just Mandy in Massa, okay. Thank you. Let's see. Claudia Reynolds. I had to dig up 2 of my garlic that had died early. There was a bulb, but hanging on the roots were some small pearl-like objects that looked like tiny cloves. Do you know what they are? Garlic is not a nitrogen fixer. What the hell would be hanging on the... I can't think they'd be nematodes or anything like that. No, I really can't give you an answer. That's never something that I have ever run across. So that one I don't know. Manuel Bravo, I will put your family in my prayers for safety and well-being from Oregon. Hell, dude, you live in Oregon. You already know what they're going through over there. You're living in a living hell yourself. But thank you for the prayers. Certainly, I will relay those to Mrs. P for sure. Let's see. Kathy Johnson, will there be, I'm guessing that's supposed to be retaliation? Yes, absolutely. I mean, again, Putin looks like a coward. Putin looks very weak from what happened today. He's not going to go, well, that's okay. I mean, be a leader of a superpower, as close as Russians say they're a superpower anymore, and get embarrassed like that. He's gonna have to do something to show he's in control. So that's why I'm saying don't think this is over. Okay, not by a long shot. Manuel Bravo, we need a man like me in the White House. Oh, hell freaking no. I don't want that. I wouldn't. There isn't enough money in the world to pay me to do that job. No way. Uh, Congress, I've thought about. Okay. President, no way. Tara, I pray that Mrs. P can get a hold of her family. We're trying. Okay. I mean, and again, there's the time difference that comes into play too. So, we'll see if she gets a response from any of her friends or her family. She doesn't have a whole lot of family. Like I said, she's got, her cousin's son. So what would that be? A nephew, I think. I don't have a big family, so I don't know how this whole nephews and nieces and all that sort of crazy stuff works. I think that's pretty much. Yeah, I mean, like I said, she doesn't have a whole lot of family over there. So, Kevin Little, I ordered another Trump 2024 Take America Back flag. We'll get it delivered tomorrow and fly it proudly. Good. That's the thing. I mean, as I said in the video yesterday or day before or whatever it is, we need to let everybody know, because by you doing it, maybe that wakes somebody up and says, you know what? I'm not going to hide anymore. If he can do it, so can I. And all of a sudden, if you start driving down the street and there's Trump flags and Trump bumper stickers and everything, everybody's like, oh my God, I can't do that. I'm afraid that somebody's going to key my car or something like that. Let them try. Okay? Because then when they do it, you beat the living crap out of them. Sorry. That's my theory. Elbeth Walker, Mr. P, the Supreme Court has been rehearsing the Bronson case since, okay, I know the Bronson case. Oh, rehearing the Bronson case. Sorry, my bad. I misread that. Rehearing the Bronson case since Wednesday. That would be nice to know, because, hey, I'd love to see 300 and some odd congressmen get kicked out real fast for treason. That would make me very happy. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not going to hold my breath. T. Fisher, thank you for the super chat. Biden is a tick, evil for sure. Blessings to you and Mrs. P. Thanks for your intel and hard work. You are most welcome. I appreciate it. Breed, or is it possible that Putin was trying to determine who was loyal and who wasn't? Right now, guys, there's speculation coming fast and furious all over the place. I mean, 1,000,001 things it could be. We don't know. The only thing we can do is react to the facts, to what we see. We can speculate on the reasoning, how it started, why it started, or anything like that. It really doesn't make a difference. What does make a difference is that it happened, okay? I really don't care why. I really don't care how, but the fact that it happened is what we do. We've got to focus more on dealing in black and white. This is what actually happened. The speculation on, did the CIA pay for it? Are they in cahoots? Whatever would be. Okay, that doesn't matter. What is the chance that somebody gets their finger on the button? What is the chance that the government falls? Could this cause the world economy to collapse? Those are the things we need to pay attention to by the facts of what has actually happened. The whys aren't as important. The whys are more interesting, and it makes for a greater conspiracy theory and conversations over a beer, but it doesn't make any difference. I mean, whether or not the CIA funded this or whether or not this was Ukraine funding it, it doesn't change anything on how it affects me. So that's what you need to look at least in my opinion again. Carl Lynn, geographically, we're different, but we are all Americans. Yes. And we all have different ways of doing things. Okay. It's like, how do you eat your pizza? I'm from Chicago. I can't stand New York pizza. Okay. But go to New York and they're like, this is the best slice in the world. Okay. We're all Americans, but we are different, and that's fine. I mean, that's part of what makes this, the greatest country in the world to live in. We're not cookie cutter of each other. Oh, crap. 9:59. Fat Daddy's Outdoor Cooking. Nice hat. Thank you. You've probably seen it many times. Storm Chasing Gal. So thankful for you and Mrs. P. I'm thankful for all of you guys too. You have no idea how much. You guys help me keep me sane by keeping me informed on things going on. Mad Max, Pinball, Nelly Orr would disagree with you. Okay. Don't care. Tara, if 45 was still here, this wouldn't be happening, period. Exactly. And that was what I said today because Trump agreed exactly with me when he said, basically in his words, the devil you know or the devil you don't. Same thing again. Saturday night, guys, I'm going to get sleep because I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm probably going to be up crack of dawn again because I want to know what the hell happens tomorrow morning. So, y'all have a good evening. We will see you in the morning. God bless y'all. Stay safe. Pinball out.